The alien warship Vorthran's Fong drifted silently above the volcanic moon of Elxir 3, its armor plating still scorched from the latest skirmish. Inside, the crew went about their post-battle routines, replacing energy cells, cleaning weapons, and checking hull integrity. Private Daniel Rourke, one of the few humans on board, moved through the narrow corridors with his datapad tucked under his arm. He was the ship's combat engineer, repairing plasma turrets, recalibrating shields, patching up whatever the mercenary crew broke during fights. The Fong's crew was mostly Vorthran, tall, lithe, reptilian humanoid warriors with silver eyes and a reputation for ruthlessness. They didn't talk much to him, all except one. Krilara. The alien mercenary was unlike any of the others. Standing over 7 feet tall, with deep blue scales that shimmered faintly under the ship's light, she moved with the grace of a predator. Her armor was always pristine, her blade always sharp, and her presence, intimidating enough to silence even her own kind. And Daniel? Well, he'd be lying if he said he wasn't a little obsessed. Beginning. The unfortunate moment. After the battle, Daniel had been tasked with recalibrating the thermal regulators in the lower crew quarters. He moved between sections, checking each heat node with his scanner. The problem was, this took him to the mercenary quarters. The mercs didn't like humans in their living areas. But engineering work was engineering work. Daniel moved quietly, scanning the nodes, when he passed a half-open door. Through the narrow gap, he caught sight of Krilara inside. Her armor, section by section, was coming off. The heavy chest plate hit the floor with a dull thud. She reached for the clasps on her shoulder guards, the faint hiss of air escaping the sealed joints echoing faintly in the room. Daniel froze. He should have kept walking. But something in his brain betrayed him, whispering, just a second longer. She slid the armor off her arms, revealing the subtle musculature beneath, scales catching the light. Her movements were deliberate, calm, almost ritualistic. And for some reason, Daniel's heart was pounding like he'd been sprinting through the corridors. Unfortunately, that's when Krilara's silver eyes snapped toward the door. The hiss of armor removal stopped. Daniel knew he'd been seen. The confrontation. The door slid open with a sudden mechanical growl, revealing the towering alien mercenary in nothing but a thin, sleeveless combat undersuit that hugged her form like a second skin. Her talons tapped slowly against the metal doorframe as she stared down at him. "Human," she said, voice low, dangerous. "Enjoying the view." Daniel's mouth went dry. I wasn't." She stepped forward, and he instinctively stepped back, his datapad almost slipping from his grip. "You were looking," Krilara said, tilting her head. "You did not knock. You did not request entry. You watched." "I was just checking the heat nodes," Daniel blurted. "Door was open, I looked," she finished, her sharp teeth glinting as she bared the faintest smile. For a moment, he thought she might just shove him aside and be done with it. But instead, Krilara stepped fully into the hallway, towering over him. "You humans," she said, voice almost amused now, "are either fearless or foolish." Daniel felt his ears burn. "Look, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to." She cut him off by placing one claw-tipped finger under his chin, forcing his gaze upward to meet hers. "If you wish to watch," she said, "then you should earn the right." A dangerous offer. Daniel blinked. "Earn it? How?" Krilara turned and motioned for him to follow. Against every ounce of his better judgment, he did. She led him to the training bay, an open space lined with weapon racks, sparring mats, and scuff marks from countless brawls. "You will fight me," she said simply, pulling her long combat blade from the rack. If you land even one strike on me, I will forgive your curiosity. Daniel stared at her like she'd grown another head. Fight you? With that thing? You're kidding, right? She didn't blink. You are a warrior, are you not? I'm an engineer, he said. The last fight I was in involved a stuck toolbox latch. Then perhaps, she said, stepping into the ring, you will learn. Daniel reluctantly picked up a training staff, feeling like a man signing his own death warrant. The moment the match began, Krylara was on him. She moved with a speed that defied her size, her blade striking in controlled, precise arcs that forced him to backpedal desperately. Every time he thought he saw an opening, she twisted away, her tail sweeping near his legs to trip him. You hesitate, she said mid-strike. Your enemies will not. I'm not exactly used to sparring 7-foot alien warriors. Daniel grunted, barely blocking another hit. Krylara's grin widened. Then adapt. She pressed forward again, and Daniel's instincts, born from hours repairing under fire, kicked in. He feigned left, then ducked right, swinging his staff low. It caught her leg, not enough to hurt, but enough to make her step back. For a brief second, her expression shifted, acknowledgement. You have teeth after all, she said. Unexpected turn. The fight went on longer than Daniel expected. He was sweating, arms aching, but somehow still on his feet. Krylara seemed to be testing him more than trying to win. Finally, she disarmed him with a swift twist of her blade and shoved him back against the training mat's wall. You did not win, she said, looming over him. Didn't think I would, he panted. But you did not yield, she added. That is something. Daniel swallowed. So, does that mean I'm forgiven? Krylara leaned in, so close he could see the fine patterns on her scales. Forgiven? Well, but perhaps you have earned something else. What she did next. Instead of striking him, or reporting him to the captain, she reached up, unfastened the collar of her undersuit, and pulled it slightly aside, revealing a pattern of silvery battle scars across her shoulder and collarbone. This, she said quietly, is what your curiosity earns you, not the soft delusions your kind seems to expect. Scars, history, survival. Daniel didn't know what to say. He'd expected anger, maybe even violence. Nonetheless, Krylara stepped back, fastening the collar again. If you wish to see more of me, you will have to prove you understand what you are looking at. I am not prey to be observed. I am a warrior. I get it, Daniel said, his voice low. And for the first time he truly did. Ending mutual respect. From that day forward, Krylara treated him differently. She still towered over him, still made the occasional teasing remark, but there was a glint of respect in her eyes. Daniel no longer peeked. Instead, he found himself invited, rarely but deliberately, to join her for training sessions, tactical briefings, even meals. And though he never forgot the embarrassment of that first moment, he also never forgot what she had shown him. That behind the armor, there was more than just strength. There was story. There was survival. On the Fong, respect was hard-earned. And Daniel had earned it, one foolish peek at a time.